Max Verstappen beat the arrival of an extraordinary Interlagos storm to see off what had been a fierce qualifying challenge from his rivals to secure pole position for Sunday's Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Having appeared to face a major fight for pole from McLaren's Lando Norris, who topped Q2 in particular, the Red Bull crucially got their man out earlier on track than most at the start of the Q3 as honestly dark crowds gathered over the circuit. Verstappen, who overtook Mercedes' George Russell exiting the pits at the start of his outlap, delivered a 1:10.727, which turned out to be the one flying lap in the final session to secure an 11th pole of the season. For Norris and McLaren, it was sharp disappointment. The Britain's pace-setting form from the second phase turned into what became sixth on the grid, with McLaren having their not ideal lap later on than the others. Teammate Oscar Piastri spun out in the last seconds, meaning he failed to set a lap time and qualified 10th. The car was amazing, admitted, no disappointed Norris, easily probably quick enough to be quickest today and on pole, so pretty gutted for where we are. In a strange set of what we are at 4 p.m. local time, Interlagos descended into almost nighttime darkness as storm clouds and high winds blew in. The rain, though, took time to properly make an impact on the track, and so drivers just slick tyres onto his first lap. Verstappen set a benchmark that wasn't beaten, with conditions only gradually getting worse from those behind him on the road. Clouds started to truly burst as the drivers headed back to the pits, meaning that the session was soon red flagged with 4 minutes remaining. With so many few minutes remaining on the clock, the weather was only worsening, with lightning seen in the distance. Race control decided that the pole shootout would not be restarted and the Q3 timesheet would remain as it is. Well, McLaren badly lost out. Aston Martin had been quickest in their feet at the start of Q3 and profited from the truncated session to take a morale boost in third and fourth on the grid after a miserable run for the team. Lance Stroll out-qualified Fernando Alonso for just the third time this year, and he will lead the teams in third place, the Canadians' best start for 3 years. McLaren will be gutted. They will think they had a chance of pole there, but Aston Martin, to be fair, was strong all the way through, said Martin Brundle on Sky. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc, the pole sitter for the last two races, will start alongside Verstappen on the front row, but there was also time regrets for Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell were only 5th and 6th, but Russell was latest demoted 2 places to wait for failing to create gaps in pit lane. The Mercedes drivers fans for contravening the race director's notes for this event by not staying far enough left to allow oncoming cars, in this case Alpine's Pierre Gasly. Norris was promoted to 6th with Ferrari's Carlos Sainz, who had an off-track moment in Q3, moving up to 7th. Under pressure, Sergio Perez meanwhile was on the back row in 9th place, with the Red Bull driver unfortunate after he passed Piastri while the McLaren was spinning off, therefore causing yellow flags. But not for the first time, there was no such misfortune for the other Red Bull. We didn't know when it would hit in qualifying, we thought, said Verstappen. This is of course insane weather. Charles and I were just discussing our laps. It felt terrible, but I don't know, I thought the wind started to change and we looked like we lost a lot of that time, but it's all quite hectic in the last lap, although the battle at the head of the timesheet would have been close and unpredictable through Friday's running. Qualifying hour featured a few shocks up to Q3 and a potential positive for Perez, whose seat at Red Bull does not see all completely secure for next year. Daniel Ricciardo hopes of repeating his superb point scoring result from last week in Mexico looked difficult after he dropped out in Q1, 1 place behind AlphaTauri teammate Yuki Tsunoda. With an exciting looking mixed up grid in place for Sunday's Grand Prix, attention now turns to Saturday's standalone sprint events at Interlagos. The sprint shootout set to the grid for the sprint itself starts at 2 p.m. With the 24-lap mini race when going to points rewarded to the top 8 finishers following at 6:30 p.m. The full-length Grand Prix, which uses the results from Friday's qualifying to set the grid, starts at 5 p.m. on Sunday. This is absolutely crazy. I've never ever seen a change of weather like that. Those were the words of Mercedes Russell as Bermuda drivers conducted their post-interviews undercover with light at a premium. The effects of the sudden turnaround in conditions was nowhere near as sparkly felt as McLaren, who was strongly delivered or threatened to deliver their first pole of the season until Q3, one of the shortest laps where qualifying is always decided by fine margins. Norris laps an impressive 10.5 faster than Verstappen in totally dry conditions in Q2, as well as suited to the undulating sweeps of Brazil's most famous circuit. The Englishman had also been the only driver to only need 1 fast lap in Q1 to make the cut. I don't know what to feel about it, admitted Norris, whose wait for a second career pole goes on. The car was amazing, it came alive in qualifying, and it's easily good enough to be quickest. Obviously, depending on the lap and putting it together and Q3 and everything is a different job, but easy, quick enough. So another disappointing Saturday and not a lot more we could have done. Although now out of position for the start, where the biggest points run off, for Norris will have another chance to qualify in the sprint shootout. Verstappen's certainly aware that Red Bull don't appear to have it all their own way this weekend. It seems all very close, said Verstappen, looking for a 17th victory of the season. You could already see that in qualifying, and I expect the same in the race. There's quite a high deck here, so it's all going to be about management, he said. It was Max Verstappen on pole, and yeah, even when arguably Red Bull didn't have the fastest car in qualifying, he and Red Bull still find a way to get it done. Brilliant strategy going out there so early. They got it nailed on. I think Leclerc, second as well, he'll be happy with that. Definitely a lot to do in the race. Probably the biggest winners of qualifying, Aston Martin, really impressive for them. Be interesting to see if they can hold their position. But Stroll especially really impressive out qualifying Alonso. And yeah, massive improvements and much needed after the last few races. Hamilton fifth, I think in a weird way he'll still be happy. They haven't really had to pace Mercedes that maybe a lot of us thought they'd have coming into it. But it's still in a good position. You'd expect him to get past the Aston Martins too. Norris will be gutted, but still in a really good position for the race, I would say. So hopeful he can make progress. But yeah, I think he'll be wondering what could have been. Sainz, yeah, as well. Obviously, timing didn't really help when he was so far off Leclerc. And then you've got Russell 8, and yeah, another sloppy session where it felt like a number of times being investigated, not on the pace of Hamilton again. So yeah, I think he will be disappointed. And then Perez obviously getting unlucky with the Piastri incident. Obviously, he seemed to have better pace today, but just poor guy can't catch a break. Piastri 10th, yeah, I think he'll be disappointed. Just once again got caught out by poor timing and making that mistake. Yeah, he'll be disappointed with that, I think. But the Haas, good improvement from them. They show decent pace, and yeah, definitely opportunities to get points if one of the top runners drop out. But yeah, for Williams, I think Albon did well to get into 13th, especially with Sargent down into 19th. You'd say, but yeah, once again, the Alpine's just not really having the pace. 14th to 15th. I know they've both got demotions, and yeah, that's not good enough on their part. But yeah, I mean, another day where they just didn't really have the pace. I think AlphaTauri as well, especially given their Mexico heroics, will be disappointing, as maybe they could look to charge down Williams. But yeah, you can see the likes of Alfa Romeo, etc., Sargent in a Williams struggling down there. So to be honest, it's not really totally a complete surprise, is it, to see them all down there in a way. And yeah, they're just really fighting over the scraps, but they can make a big difference down at the bottom of the table. But anyway, guys, that's it for you. Thanks so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, links, subscribe for daily F1 news and subscribe to the channel. It's going to be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.